Are you listening to this right now? Do you have a business? Well, just to let you know, you are not the only person listening to this. There are other people dumb enough to listen to this podcast. Why aren't you putting your ads here? You know they're going to listen to it. You are now. For only $25, you could get our last Miltia MMA spot. It's going to go this week. I'm sure of it. And then they're going to get all this business because you're hearing me right now. And I could be talking about your business right now. So contact me and get on that. Hey guys, listen, that stain in your ceiling isn't a Virgin Mary coming back. You got a crappy roof. Why? Because the person who built your house was a crappy roofer. It's not a holy statement. You need to get that fixed. Don't let a $4,000 problem be a $40,000 problem just because you were religious and you thought it was the second coming. No, call my man Tony at Affordable Roofing. He is the best. He will fix it. I'll tell you what, if he built that roof, there would be no stains in it. There would be no water dripping. You get it right out the gate. But you didn't know Tony, and you didn't know about him now. So let's fix that. Why don't you give that man Tony a call, my man Tony, at 423-593-9605. Again, that's Affordable Roofing, 423-593-9605. I have to say it extra slow because sometimes I mess up that numbers. So call Tony, get that roof fixed. They say the most important part of a building is a foundation. For the strongest foundation that exists, that's Brown and Whitworth Foundation. That foundation is second to none. Why? Because your second place ass isn't allowed in it. Sweet tea, gravy and biscuits, tater casseroles with mountains of cheese. This is why you are fucking fat. And Miltia MMA is a great place to work out. But we're not miracle workers here. We could burn off 3,000 calories a day. But if you're eating 6,000, you're never going to get those abs. I'll tell you how you're going to get those abs and how you're going to get stronger. And you're going to get better at MMA and jiu-jitsu. You're going to go see my man, Captain Cranberry, at 10-8 Personal Training. Listen, he's in Georgia. He's affordable. And the more you do, the cheaper it is. He gives you a free session. How many of you guys went to that free session last week? None of you. You're doing it wrong. Get there, get a trainer. You can only push yourself so hard. A trainer helps you reach that second level, that level you can't push yourself at. I could do it for you here, but I'm not following you guys home. I'm not crossing those state lines. We got my man Dylan here, and he's going to do it for you. He's going to take all the guesswork out of it for you. Why? Because he's NASM certified. He read the books. He did the studying, all the stuff that you didn't want to do. And guess what? You could reap the benefits at a really, really affordable price. I know how much personal training is. I know how much he's charging. He is cheap, your own personal studio. What more could you ask for? Inflation hit, but it didn't hit 10-8 Studio or Miltia MMA. Self-plug. So call my man Dylan. Dylan, what's your number?
951-445-3133.
You could also find him on Instagram at 10-8 Personal Training. Again, what's that number, Dylan?
951-445-3133.
So give him a call right now and set up your free personal private training session. Welcome to the Miltia MMA podcast. I am so excited about this. We got a very, very special guest today. This guy left California. He was actually my friend before we moved here, and I started coaching him over in California, and he decided to move out and follow me. I'm talking about the one, the only Dylan Kennedy, aka Captain Cranberry. How you doing today, Dylan?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here.
I'm very excited to have you on. So, Dylan, what brought you out here? Go into detail.
Okay. Man, so I came out to Georgia back in the early 2000s.
Were you born in Georgia?
I was not. I was born in California.
Okay.
I was raised in California, lived out there my whole life, but I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. And they had great school down in Atlanta.
So this is 2002?
2004, 5, somewhere around there.
4 or 5.
Yeah,
wow.
I graduated 2001, so it's probably about 2004 or 5.
So you were 24.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
21, 22. I was born 83.
83. I'm 85. Okay. So what made you want to be a pro wrestler?
I just loved it. I remember, I liked it when I was a little kid. I always thought it was cool. Hulk Hogan was huge in the 80s, so I was a big Hulk Hogan fan. And then I completely forgot that wrestling was around until I was a teenager and some of the video games came out.
So so you watched it when you were a kid, and then you somehow got out of it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know it was on air anymore. I don't know how, but I totally missed it. Didn't know it was even around. Started playing video games with my friends. We had this game that we'd play against each other, and you create your own character and whatnot.
Was it for N64?
It was for N64.
Me and my buddy Brent, my best friend who lived down the block, used to play that same game. It had all their walkout videos and stuff.
It was great. Loved it.
I still remembered the Big Blue Meanies video. It was ridiculous. With the hands and the face.
Yes. It was a great game.
It was a great game.
And I happened to be flipping through the channels one day and saw a promo for WCW and went, oh, wow, it's still on TV. Those are the guys from the video game. Let me check it out.
How old were you then? 14, 15?
Probably 14, 15, somewhere around there.
And now are we talking NWO era?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
NWO
WCW's height.
WCW, back when they were competing every Monday night, when wrestling was amazing because you had two companies battling for the top spot on Monday night.
Yeah. So were you in it? What is it? The Montreal screw job? Is that it? Were you
Bret Hart? Yeah, I remember that.
That's about when I fell off too.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Bret Hart left, and then I don't know what happened. Razor Ramon was always my favorite.
Razor Ramon was great. He had gone to WCW.
Yes, then he became Scott Hall and wasn't Mexican or Puerto Rican.
No, his accent disappeared.
It disappeared. He was just he was Scott, the white guy.
Scott, yeah. Yeah, he came in at first and had a little bit of the accent, and then it tapered off over a couple weeks, and then he was just,
He's like a reverse. What's her name? Not Gabby Garcia. Who is it? Ashley fought her.
Oh,
with the fake accent.
Yeah, I can't think of. I know who you're talking
Mackenzie
about.
Dern.
There you go.
Yeah, Bobby knew. Bobby knows all. Yeah, so I loved Scott Hall. He was my favorite. Rest in peace.
Yeah, just
so you
recently.
Got back in the WCW era.
I did. So I started watching it.
Too.
Yes, it was good stuff. It was great because they were both competing for the Monday night ratings. They did a lot of dirty stuff to each other during that time.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What?
There's a lot. So, for example, WWF, as it was called back then, was taped days before or whatever, Monday night. It was not live.
But they said live.
WCW actually was live. And so they knew that a lot of people did what I did and probably what you did, which was flip back and forth depending on which show had the better match at the time.
You know what? The NWO, I got bought in. I was like, this is awesome. They had the NASCAR going.
They did.
The NWO. Ted Turner threw some serious money at it.
He threw a lot of money at it.
People don't realize it. It was for those of you who don't know, there was WWF, which was number one, and WCW, which was becoming number one. And the reason it was because Ted Turner was just putting bank loads in, and Vince McMahon was stingy, right?
Yes. Everybody started coming over from WWF because WCW was paying big money. WCW actually beat WWF in the ratings 82 weeks in a row.
Yeah, they became number
they
one.
They would have put them out of business if certain things didn't happen that ruined it, including Turner merging with WB or with Warner. Warner. That threw a lot of things off because those guys didn't like wrestling. They thought it was below them or whatever.
Didn't it eventually become Spike too, TNT?
That sounds right. Or TNT took over Spike. I remember WWE wrestled on Spike for a bit.
Yeah, and then they had, what came first? Was it that reality show for the wrestling or the Ultimate Fighter?
I think the reality show for the wrestling was
I think
first.
so.
Right. Tough Enough.
Tough enough. And then the UFC kind of copied it. So
right, but obviously
they had the challenges too in the beginning.
They did do the challenges in the beginning, yes.
Like people got eliminated because they lost at a challenge,
yes.
I think.
That was a fun show.
Yeah, I think for a sport, it makes it a little wackier with the challenges.
Right.
If somebody could get eliminated for a challenge.
Right, because then maybe your best guy loses, and that's just silly.
Yeah, that's silly. But if it was for like pick or something, I'm all for challenges.
Right.
Like some of the legendaries was like Joe Stevenson's and the Scarecrows. You remember that one?
Is that the one where he had to climb around?
Yeah, and then Matt Hughes made him do like over 200.
Right, and then
Rich Franklin's
like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, you guys get the pick.
We're not going to tire our guys out.
Yeah,
that was great.
Such a G move.
That was smart.
So getting back to wrestling.
Oh, that's right. So one of the things that they did, right, because they weren't live, is I remember the night The Rock was defending his title against Mankind. So my plan was to switch it over at WWF for that main event.
Mankind was a big star back then.
He was. The Rock was huge, and he was a heel at the time. Mankind was a face, and so people wanted to see Mankind take the belt off The Rock. And so I was planning on switching over, and WCW comes on before that match and says, hey, I know a bunch of you are going to switch over to watch The Rock defend his title against Mankind. Just so you know, it's pre-taped. It's already been determined. Mankind's going to win. And they showed a quick clip from somebody in the audience that had taped it and put it out there for everybody. So they did dirty little tricks like that against each other.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You know what? That reminds me of the one time Tosh.0 called out Storage Wars and like everything in the locker is fake and it's predetermined.
Really?
And it killed Storage Wars.
Oh, that's too
I
bad.
couldn't watch it after that.
Yeah, that ruins it.
That ruins it. Like, oh, this is all just acting. Yeah, he called it out on Comedy Central.
Oh, that's funny. I used to like Tosh.0.
Yeah, he was a good comedian.
He was funny.
It wasn't like Rob Dyrdek who stole his thing and
right.
I can't really. He's not funny. Like, get a comedian, a guy who knows how to make jokes. Rob Dyrdek had to hide behind his posse and just use buzzwords.
Yeah.
Like, those aren't punchlines. Those are buzzwords. Larry the Cable Guy.
Get her done.
Yeah, right? That means insert punchline here.
Exactly. Nothing to say. All right, throw in get her done.
Yeah, they eat it up down here in the Middle East. By the way, for those of you who don't know, when I mean the Middle East, I'm talking about Tennessee. Because this isn't the South. Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alabama, that's the South. We're the Middle East. We're not the coast. We're in the middle of the country and on the east.
So Tennessee's not the South?
No, it's the Middle East. Get a map. You know where it is on the...
I figured, I always considered if you were part of the Confederacy, you're the South. That's how I always looked at it.
No, it's geographic.
Geographic, okay.
South is a direction. It's not like, a gender or...
Maybe it identifies as the South.
Yeah, so the Southerners were the first. The Middle Easterners were the first to identify. You have it.
Identify as South. There you go.
So you went and wrestled.
Yes.
You came here to wrestle.
I drove out to Atlanta, Georgia, and moved in, rented a room from a guy he was a retired cop from Atlanta, and his wife had passed away 10 years earlier. He didn't want to live alone, but he had no desire to remarry. So he rented rooms. Yeah, he rented rooms for cheap to a bunch of guys in their 20s. Super nice guy. I mean, the stuff we paid him for rent, he used back to buy us dinners and breakfast and take us out.
Oh, man,
super
what a
cool
good deal.
Guy. Yeah, he just wanted people to hang out and be in the house. Rented my room, and I started training it at the WWA4.
Who ran that?
That was a guy named Frank bought it out. He was a wrestler. He was probably 70 when I went there. So he had been a wrestler in his 20s and 30s, started running promotions, and then he ended up buying the old WCW power plant. So the power plant was where the developmental league was for WCW.
It wasn't a real power plant.
No, it wasn't a real power plant.
They called it.
They called it the power plant.
That was the buzzword.
And what was cool about it, when I looked at different wrestling schools, a lot of wrestling schools either had only one ring or no ring at all, and you just practiced on mats.
On mats.
Which,
like old wrestling mats?
Yeah, right. Old wrestling mats.
Old rollout, because that's probably as cheap as you could get from an old school.
And the problem with that is you're not hitting the ropes and learning how to do that right. You're not getting, there's a lot of moves you can't practice doing that.
Yeah, like what did they do? Like chairs to jump off of
I don't know. I just know that
or like a stool.
Probably. Where I went, they had 5 rings inside the building. So we had a lot of rings to practice with. They had a weight area.
How many members?
It varied. We had probably 12 to 15 solid dudes that were in there training.
What were these, like old boxing rings?
No, they were wrestling rings.
What's the difference between a boxing ring and a wrestling ring?
I don't know what the difference. I know how we built them because I helped build some, but I don't know what the difference.
It's pretty much like welded steel, a canvas.
Yeah, so we would set up the
Maybe the turnbuckles are different.
Yeah, and the rope's probably a little bit more give because you can bounce off the ropes. I don't know, maybe you can in a boxing ring. I don't know.
A little bit. They're a little tighter.
Tighter in the wrestling ring? Yeah, because if you hit those things fast, they give you a good push.
Yeah, so I bet you they're all. You just bought them off wrestling promotions?
Well, these were the leftovers from the power plant.
Oh,
so one of them had the old school blue mat with the WCW symbol. It was one that was used that WCW would take on the road.
So he got all the equipment.
He got all the equipment.
Wow. Big old building.
Big building. It was cool.
Well, it was industrial probably, right?
Yes. Yeah, we were in an industrial area. We were literally connected to a strip club because Atlanta is covered in strip clubs. So we had a strip club connected right to us.
You said there was a strip club, and they're known for the strip club. They say it's the strip club capital of the world, Atlanta?
I had never heard that, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
One of the promotions I wrestled for, where I was the heavyweight champion, we wrestled every Thursday and Saturday night inside of Pinup's Strip Club in Decatur, Georgia.
Was that the one attached?
No, it was a different one.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I want to know more about this this compound you guys were. What was it like? What was the price for a membership? Was it money or?
It was, and this is where they got you. So it was only $50 a month once you were a member.
But they took a percentage if you became big.
They took a percentage if you became big. You signed away that in contract. Also, you paid $900 down. And we had a lot of people that would come in and spend a day or two and say, screw this. And they were done. And they were out $900. So I think that's where he really made his money.
That's even not that bad.
It's not too bad. But when he's got 3 or 4 guys coming in every week and then bouncing after a day or a week or whatever.
Yeah, but like you pay up front and then $50 a month.
Oh, yeah. For us that were staying, it was great. Great deal.
Great.
Yeah.
That's on you then.
Right. 100% it's on you to stick around and make your money worth it.
You would pay that for an excursion doing something like that probably now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, hey, come to this wrestling school for a weekend, a camp. It would cost you about $900.
Right.
With a real professional experienced guy. I mean, I know money was different back then.
Right.
Probably a 50 then's like 150 now, maybe.
Probably, but it wasn't bad.
That's not bad. Still.
No, I mean, we would make enough of that at one show to cover that.
This is the number one in the country.
Right.
You got to spend money to accomplish your goals.
Correct.
It shouldn't get in the way.
Right.
So that's awesome.
So it wasn't bad. And we had an old WWF wrestler that was our trainer, Mr. Hughes. He was known as Total Protection Mr. Hughes back in the WWF days. We had a big poster in the building with him holding up Undertaker's urn after he had attacked Undertaker and took his urn from him.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was cool. He was a very good trainer. He was huge when he was in the WWF, and then he had cut weight and trimmed up when he was training us. Still looked great, but just very different than he had been before. But
a lot of guys juicing and stuff.
Oh yeah. A lot of guys juicing, a lot of guys taking things for the pain.
Yeah, big time. I hear that.
So that was the unfortunate side of it. I mean, we had guys in their early 20s who in the ring were doing flips off the top rope and looked amazing. But then when they weren't in there with that adrenaline rush, they were gimping around everywhere, holding their back.
Yeah, the lactic acid built up. Did they teach any like recovery methods or anything like that?
That's probably something that would have been really good.
Or like they probably taught you how to land though.
Oh yeah, they absolutely taught us how to take a bump.
What did they teach you to like do there? Like go through a typical day there.
So we'd come in, we'd warm up.
What time?
7. So 7 to 10. No, every night.
Oh, okay.
We train at night, yeah.
Because the guy probably had a day job.
Probably had a day job. So we train 7 to 10. So we come in 7 to 7:30. We'd warm up. We do air squats, jumping jacks, and we'd hit the ropes. And you'd do 20.
Like a coach would put you through this, like it was like a wrestling practice
100%.
or a baseball practice.
Right. So he gets warmed up. We do that stuff, and then he would take a couple of the newer guys, and he would go to the one mat, and he'd work with them. And everybody else would kind of do their own thing.
Give them drills and stuff.
Right. We're going to learn this kind of like in here. Okay, this is the technique for today. Today we're doing, arm drags. Today
and you're going to give the big guys, they might just fall and slap the mat.
Right.
Like the basics.
Yes.
Which you didn't need to go over.
Not after a while, right?
Not after a while, because you're doing the basics while you're doing your work.
Correct. So then after a while, then you get to where you have seniority and you kind of know what you're doing. And so you go off with the other guys to one of the other 4 rings and you can run matches together or you can just work on things. Hey, I was thinking about doing this move. I came up with a move. Do you mind if I try it? Work on different stuff. Sometimes they would go over how to talk on the mics. We do mic drills and things like that.
What is okay? So did a lot of guys get hurt when people were inventing moves in the workshop?
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of times it would just be at a match. People would get hurt. Something would go wrong.
So you didn't get many injuries in the training room?
Not in the train. I mean, sore. I'd get black eyes from taking a punch wrong.
Okay.
My back would be sore, headaches. But no, I never hurt, seriously hurt something.
Yeah, didn't slip a disc or something.
No, not training. I did in a wrestling match, and that's what retired me. But
okay, we'll go into that in a second. Now, also, what did they go over in mic skills? What are some key points?
To talk to the crowd. Well, it depends what you're trying to do too. So they would explain that, if you're the face.
Okay, so let's just say you're a pro wrestler. What would you have to do to go on the mic? What is the mic duties and what would they teach you? Okay, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Right. So your purpose on the mic, right, is to get the crowd ready for your match.
So you come out pre-match.
Yes, pre-match.
And it's usually one guy comes out pre-match.
Correct.
And he sets it up.
He sets it up. Sometimes the second guy will come out and they'll have a little argument back and forth on the mic.
So is it kind of like a play in the beginning?
Yes, but they don't tell you what to do. I'm sure now in WWF, I've heard they give them an exact script of what to say anytime they go out.
No, but you go out there and freestyle.
Freestyle, yeah.
To an extent.
Yes.
You created a backstory for yourself.
Yes, so you followed your gimmick. Whatever your gimmick was, you're supposed to stick with that.
So you wouldn't have a new gimmick each match?
No. So usually guys had their gimmick and they stuck with it.
Okay. Unless you were told,
that sucks, do something else, right?
So if they go into the WWF, do they come in with a gimmick already? Or does
no,
Vince
usually Vince will give them a new gimmick. You'll even see guys in the WWF and their gimmick sucks, and they'll reinvent themselves to something different. So
Rock did that.
The Rock did. The Rock was not getting any credibility for his gimmick as Rocky Maivia, and he changed to The Rock, and it blew up.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's talk about your career.
Okay.
So how did it go? How did it start out?
It was great. I got invited to come and work as a ref at first, right?
So,
that's usually what the new guys do. You go and ref matches.
How many months of training?
That was right away.
So a month in?
Yeah, a month in. Come and ref. I had gone and watched some of the shows.
You get paid to be a ref?
Yeah. Not very much.
$20?
Paid, yeah, $20, something to cover gas and some food or whatever, enough to, but really their thing was, hey, you're here, you're watching it, you're learning. And ref's important. There's a lot more than just slapping the mat and counting, right? You were used to pass messages between the two sometimes.
Oh.
So when you see one guy get taken to the ground and the other guy starts climbing the rope, sometimes the ref will be, yelling at the guy to get off the top rope and then walk over and check on the guy on the ground. And really what he's doing is passing messages in between.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, sometimes the ref's the one who slips the blade if somebody's going to cut.
Okay.
Some wrestlers would keep it in a tape on their wrist. They tape around the wrist.
Yeah, that's why they're taping. Or do they use one of those sweatbands too?
Yeah, they can use a sweatband, but the ref always had one just in case, because sometimes one could fall out or whatever. And so the ref always had one just in case.
You ever have to pick out a fallen blade on the mat?
No, luckily no.
I'm sure some refs have. They're like,
oh, I bet.
That.
Yeah.
Wow. So go on.
So I refed for a little bit, but not long. So each promotion, there's the promoter who's in charge of it. He's the one in charge of getting ticket sales, promoting the match. Then there's the booker. The booker is the one who actually sets the matches, decides who's going to go over or who's going to win, right? And kind of tells the story throughout.
So the booker's like the matchmaker?
He's like the matchmaker. And depending on the...
And the orchestrator too.
Yes.
The conductor.
Right. He's the one that says, all right, you two are going, you're going over. Right?
So when they write this, they're writing a whole show before it even starts.
Some and some not. And that was a big difference between promotions that I wrestled for. Some promotions, you'd show up and there'd be signs in the locker room with the exact matches, how long they wanted the matches to be, and who was going over on each match. So you knew ahead of time, okay, cool, I'm going with this guy, and it's going to be a 10-minute match, and I'm going to win. Other bookers, you'd show up, and they would just, as it was going, all right, you two are up next, and you're going to win. And you just, okay, let's go, and went out.
Which one put on a better show?
It really depended on the wrestlers. There were some wrestlers that were really good at, it didn't matter, right? They didn't need to know ahead of time. They could go out there and just put on a show. But it seemed like overall, as far as the show overall, the guys that had it set up ahead of time were
that makes sense. Orchestrate the whole thing, make an album, not a single.
Right, because if they're not organized with the matches, they're not going to be organized with any of it.
Or maybe a whole event tells a show, and you might have somebody from match 2 fight match 7 jumping in.
Exactly.
Because you orchestrated it.
Right, and I had matches like that where somebody would jump in or I would go jump in a match, and then it would set up a match.
It creates
later.
rival to get to get excited about the next one.
Right. Because when you're working in independents, some markets are at the same place at the same time once a month or once a week, and so you get the same crowd and they know you. Other ones, you're bouncing around. And so nobody knows you. So you have to, in one show, get them behind the face, get them against the heel, get a lot of heat on the heel, and have them really cheering for that face, hating the heel, and really build up that excitement.
So if you went for a new promotion, it was like a job interview, basically.
Basically, yeah. Because you would have guys show up to a promotion, do a match, and then not get invited back.
Right, yeah. It's almost arena football's like that. If you suck that day, they'll cut you.
They're out. Yeah, exactly.
Cutthroat. Wow. Now, so after you got done reffing, what was next? So you did your job reffing. How many reffing gigs did you do?
Not a lot. I only reffed for probably a couple weeks. And then the booker for the World Wrestling Alliance, that was our big one. That was the every Thursday and Sunday or Saturday night. He came to me. He also had his own promotion. And he said, "Hey, look, kid." He always called me kid. I don't know why, but he loved me. His name was Rocky King. He was an old wrestler. He was a manager in the WCW. He had a lot of connections with the big guys.
Rocky's such a wrestler name.
It's a great name for wrestler. Rocky King, you know. So he pulled me over. He goes, "Hey, kid, come here. Like, I want you to wrestle. I want to put you in my show and make sure you're good, and then I'll put you in the World Wrestling Alliance." They were very strict on who wrestled for the WWA because they didn't want the strip club. I mean, that was bread and butter.
Right.
That wasn't every week. They didn't have to worry about selling tickets. They got paid the same amount no matter what. And so that was one that they didn't screw with. They only let the best guys wrestle there. And so he goes, "I want to try you out there, but I got to test you somewhere else first. So can you put on a show for me?" So I went and I wrestled. My first show was for the BWA, where it was in like a YMCA building. I was a heel. I wanted to be a heel. That's what I always wanted to be.
You wanted to be a heel.
I wanted to be a heel. I loved Scott Hall. I loved Triple H. I loved heels. I loved the NWO. I was a big fan of the heel. I think the heel has a lot more freedom.
Guy.
That's what screwed me, right? So the heel, we set it up. I was wrestling this guy. We called him Frenchie. He was from England. He'd been gone for a couple months. This was his first match back.
I love how they go with Frenchie. They're like, he's from England.
He's from England. He's Frenchie.
None of these yokels will freaking know it in Atlanta.
And that's how a lot of our guys were. We had a guy from New York. We called him New York, right? That was just... So I was going to wrestle him, and everybody was excited in town. Like, they were trying to build it up in town. Like, "Oh, Frenchie's back." All these kids are, yeah, because they loved him. He was a big face.
So he was the good guy.
He was the good guy, the baby face.
Okay, so it's baby face is good guy, heel is bad.
Heel's the bad guy. Because the baby face, right? You think the baby face, a face is the top front of a body. The heel is the back bottom of a body, right? So the heel's the exact opposite of a face.
All right.
So I was going to get heat on me by coming out there. He was going to introduce me and talk about how happy he was to be back. And look, we've got this new guy, and I'm excited to give him his first match. And he was going to put out his hand to shake my hand, and I was going to slap him in the face and then just attack him from there. And that was going to get me the heat, right? And kind of have people feeling sorry for him. And that was how I was going to get my heat. So we go out there, we do it. I slap him. I start beating him. And for whatever reason, through the match, people kept cheering for me. And so we get done, and I go in the back, and Rocky comes over to me, and he goes, "Look, kid, it was a good match. I'm going to let you wrestle for World Wrestling Alliance, but you're a face." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And, no, you're a face, kid. You're a face.
I could see that.
So that was it, right? I got stuck as a face.
So you got the crowd behind you.
The crowd got behind me somehow. I didn't try, but...
Somehow, Dylan they sensed your good aura.
I guess.
You couldn't hide it. Because I think like The Rock's probably the opposite. He's the good guy, but I think he's probably an egotistical maniac.
Right.
Personally.
Right.
But he knows how to play a good guy real well.
He does know how to play a good guy real well when he is.
Well, he knows how to sell things, The Rock.
He's great on the mic, too. He's
you
still
a Rock
one of the best.
fan?
You know what? I always liked his mic skills. I always appreciated his mic skills because I always felt like on the mic, even now, I think he's one of the best people to get on a mic ever.
And he did a good job doing, so like when he became famous, he never gave up the wrestling.
Right. He still would go back.
And keep feed his fan base,
yes.
Which is a really smart thing to do. They don't like you if you go crossover and then you stop wrestling.
No, they hate that. The fans hate that.
That's like the worst thing you could do.
Yes.
Until you become older and everybody like accepts you as a movie guy.
Correct.
And then he probably still is involved somehow, right?
I think so. He's got a lot of family. His cousin Roman Reigns is the champion right now, so he's got a lot of family there, and that's the big kind of hype is they're talking about.
Does he go into the ring still? And
The Rock?
Yeah.
I think it's been a little bit, but there's talk that next WrestleMania they're going to set up him versus Roman Reigns.
I love The Undertaker.
The Undertaker's great. Just retired, finally. Put in the Hall of Fame.
I bet he was a clean athlete.
He might have been.
Just he was so big. He
was
need
huge.
To, that was it. That was his gimmick. He was huge.
Right. I mean,
He
he's
didn't really
definitely
even
Mount Rushmore.
Now, you were also telling me at one time that you don't also have to be a talker either.
No, if you get a manager, that's what they'll do for guys that can't talk. So they'll get him a manager that can talk.
Like the Brock Lesnar.
Yes, Paul Heyman.
Okay.
Paul Heyman talks for him, or talked for him. Now he's with Roman Reigns, and he does a great job of getting people heated up, fired up. Paul Heyman's great on the mic,
But Brock Lesnar doesn't talk because he talked on when he fought the UFC.
Yes,
I remember this. This was like one of the stupidest, funniest things ever. I want to thank God for my body and my mind. And then he took his index finger and pointed to the sky and said, God bless you. And pointed to God and said, well, not only did he say, God bless you, he thought about it. He said, God, and then thought for a second. He said, fuck it. I'm going to say it everywhere. God bless you. And then put it down. I was like, really? This guy was a pro wrestler?
right. He didn't talk a lot when he first started.
I like how he said God for his body and his mind, and then he talked like a retard.
Well, then he gave that promo too. I think it was after he beat Frank Mir, where he said, I want to thank Coors Light because Bud Light doesn't pay me enough.
Bud's not sponsoring me.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to get on top of my wife and have a Coors because
Yes.
they're not paying me enough. Because they're not paying me. And they got a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, I remember him apologizing right after because Dana went and put him
Yelled
in
at
place.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you don't F with our main sponsor.
Right.
You juice-headed fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good you are. You don't screw with the sponsors.
I actually, one of my contestants, Ramsey Needhams, was on Brock Lesnar's season.
Really?
And they're like, he was just kind of like a big dumb animal. And he said he pulled up in his truck and just started talking shit to the other team, and then like peels off and speeds off and crashes.
Oh, no.
He's like, oh, that's all right. The UFC's renting it to me. And then like left. What a big dumb idiot.
I wish he wouldn't have gotten the diverticulitis. I wonder how well he would have done.
I don't think he was good enough.
You
He
don't
didn't
think
have
so?
the skill. No, Cain Velasquez was the man that beat him.
Kane was a beast.
I heard back before he even fought that the guys at AK are like, this guy's going to be the UFC champ. He beats the little guys in sprints. He's got an incredible work ethic. This, that, and the other. This guy's going to be champ. I think the disease you were talking about came from steroids.
Oh, is that what it was from?
I think so, because they
that's
do
too
mess
bad.
with your organs.
Right.
That was pre-USADA days. There hasn't even been a whisper of him coming back, and it's pretty obvious he's a juicer.
Oh, yeah. Well, his last fight was Mark Hall, right? Or Mark Hunt?
Mark Hunt.
And he beat him, and then they can't. Yeah, Mark Hall was older. He beat him.
Temecula resident.
Yes, he was Temecula. And then they came out later and took away the victory, right? Because they found out that he'd been juicing.
And Mark Hunt was so mad about it.
I'd be mad too.
Yeah. There was a big one against Brandon Vera, too. He got beat up by juiced out. What's his name? He's fighting Hector Lombard, bare knuckle now. Thiago Silva.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Hunt was pissed about Brock Lesnar. But I remember Brandon Vera fought Thiago Silva, and Thiago Silva beat the dog shit out of him and then popped for steroids. And that was like, it was such a really bad beating that like, it's like, this is a serious problem when your sport is to hurt somebody,
Oh, yeah.
to cheat.
Well, and when you only get a few fights a year and
Yeah.
you work super hard for that fight and then you get beat and find out he cheated, it's like.
So Mark Hunt was extra pissed about that. So you became the face.
Yes.
The baby face.
Yes.
And then you fought again for this promotion?
Yeah, I continued to fight for that promotion. I changed up. I actually had so I didn't have a gimmick in the beginning. I came out as Dylan Kennedy. I wore a little tight orange pair of, boxer brief looking things.
Were you shirtless?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I shaved my armpits. You
gotta look the part.
I missed that actually. It was great.
It's probably hard growing in.
It sucks for when you first do it. It hurts, it chafes, and then you get used to it. It feels really good, but
I tried when I was younger, shaving the chest, and just too much.
Yeah.
One of my buddies like, Tom, you're just a hairy beast. It's like, don't even try.
Yeah, you accept it.
You just gotta accept it, and life is much easier when you accept it. I accepted the hair. I accepted not wearing a fake tooth, and I couldn't be happier.
No, the tooth thing's great.
I learned to work it into the image,
right?
So it works out. But then I forget that sometimes I'm looking at people and I smile, and I forget on the other side I'm just a carnival face motherfucker. Like, oh yeah, I'll look around like, oh, this is what they gotta look at.
They see the ears, they see the tooth.
Yeah,
I
look like
guy.
Alfred E. Newman missing a tooth.
Or we have people in Vegas talk about how you're the guy that beat Conor McGregor, and they remember you.
Yes.
The guy that came up on the strip or
oh yeah,
downtown.
Yeah.
I remember you. You beat Conor McGregor.
I was like, yeah, sure, good enough.
I'll take it.
You want me to sign something? Got any money?
Well, his buddy was the one trying to sell us the CD. We got all mad when we
right.
didn't buy it. Yeah.
Oh man, Vegas was so fun.
Vegas is an interesting place.
It is. It's a good time. Got to go down to Fremont though.
Yeah, Fremont's fun.
Yeah, that's why I was hanging out there, because I beat Conor McGregor, and
yeah,
that's the place I go to.
All that money goes to the Gold Nugget.
Yeah, I'm going to Binion's to hang out now because I made it. So you became the face. You went for a new organization.
Yes, and I continued to push from there, but I went over to the World Wrestling Alliance, and that's when I came up with my gimmick.
What was your gimmick?
The California
Captain
Kid.
Cranberry.
The Captain Cranberry.
No. California
Kid. So I got a pair of board shorts.
Before you were pre-Uriah Faber?
Yes. I believe so. I don't know. When did he start?
He might have started like 2004 or 5.
So it might have been around the same time. We both...
I mean, it's not a hard nickname.
No,
to
it's
put
not.
Together.
Because I thought of Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and I thought, well, maybe if I was the California Dream, and then I went, no, that sounds dumb. I kind of bounced it off somebody, and we're like, it's missing something. And
it's too much like his gimmick.
Right. And then I think it was my mom, actually, that texted me. It was like, you should go by the California Kid. And I was like, man, I really like that.
CK, yeah.
Yeah. And then everybody started calling me Cali Kid.
Okay.
So I'd wear the board shorts, a puku shell necklace, sunglasses. And then when I would talk on the mic, it was, dude, bro.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had total, which out here, they ate it up, right? Down in Atlanta. It was like, whoa, look at this white boy from California.
Isn't that Matt Riddle's gimmick now?
And that's what Brave, he's when we first started watching Brave, and Brave's like, he's copying your gimmick.
Apparently that's just the real Matt Riddle.
Is that really how he talks?
Yeah, like he's a big old stoner.
Big stoner, yeah.
And I hear like sometimes he'll forget his lines in a little, and he'll like play it off because he's just stoned.
Well, he's hilarious, so it works.
Yeah. Apparently, like that's him.
Right.
Maybe just a little pepped up, but not much. And he's phenomenal.
Oh, he's great. He's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch. Just the amount he carries everybody else with his athleticism.
And the no shoes. That's so interesting because I've never seen that. I can't think of anybody doing. I'm sure somebody did it at some
Those
point.
of you who don't know, Matt Riddle was a UFC fighter. Got kicked out of the UFC for smoking weed, which is now legal in the UFC. And his dream, he got into the UFC because his dream was to be a pro wrestler.
Oh, I didn't know that was originally his dream.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he worked his way up. And he was a mama's boy all throughout the UFC and lived with his mom. And
really?
She took him everywhere.
Very cool.
So, what was the climax of your wrestling career? You're winning some matches.
It was great. And then I was I was facing a guy named Amian Rios. Well, that was his wrestling name. And he was a really good technical wrestler. He was from Texas, but he used the name Amian Rios because he was Hispanic. And so he really played like the Mexican fan base. Basically everybody kind of played with fan bases, right? Like you're going to be this guy, you'll get these fans, you'll get these fans. So that was his thing. He was a really good wrestler. He was the champion. And I was going against him, and they told me, hey, yeah, you're going to go against him. He's going to go over and keep the title, which I figured, obviously, like, this guy's a really great wrestler. He's been around for a long time. He deserves it. And so we went out there, and the finish was he would hit a frog splash. That was his finisher. So usually when you go out there, you just make stuff up while you're out there. You talk to each other, you communicate, but without speaking a lot. There's a lot of signs you can do that mean things.
Yeah, you got pre-existing hand signals and
Correct.
tells.
Right. And so our finish, you always pretty much came up with a finish ahead of time. This is how we're going to end the match. And so the finish was going to be, I was going to go for something. He was going to counter it and drop me hard, climb up the ropes and hit the frog splash and beat me. And so we're in the match. We're doing the match. He goes, all right, let's take it home. So I do the move. He counters it. He drops me. And he starts climbing the ropes. And the ref goes over to yell at him just in case he has a message. The ref comes back over and says, move. I'm like, move? All right, and I'm kind of like, is the ref screwing with me? Is this a joke? So Amian jumps off the top, does the frog splash. I roll out of the way last minute. He hits the mat, and when he hits the mat, his face is on the ground, and he says, hit the wipeout. That was my finishing move. I called it the wipeout.
No
surfer thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I would do a sit-down power bomb, and I'm thinking, oh, so this dude's going to have me do the wipeout so he can counter my move or kick out of my finisher and then beat me. That's kind of garbage. But all right, whatever. He's the champ. He's got seniority. So I put him in, I put him up, and he doesn't counter it. He doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything. I hit him with it, and he whispers, pin me. And I'm like, what is it? So I pin him. They count it, and I win the title, and I look over, and Rocky's over there smiling. They didn't tell me that I was going to win the belt. They wanted it to be a surprise.
Oh, wow.
So it was really cool.
Was that guy pissed?
No, he was really cool with it.
So do wrestlers get mad if they lose the title? I'm sure there's a lot of pettiness.
There's a lot.
And jealousy.
We were all really close in that promotion. We all trained together, so we didn't.
And this was at a strip club, too.
Yes, and this was in the strip club, right? Which is a real weird environment to wrestle in.
Yeah, what was it like wrestling in the strip club?
The strippers hated us.
Why?
Because when we would be doing a match, all the dudes were watching us.
Would you get dollars thrown at you?
No, we would not get dollars thrown at us, luckily. So the way we would do it...
Luckily, you could make a little extra tip on it. You probably only got $60 to win that title.
That's true. So we had a locker room in the back, and we would come out, and all the wrestlers would sit around the ring for protection. There were bouncers, but the agreement we had with them was if anybody gets in the ring, they're ours, right?
Okay.
So we would sit around the ring, the match would happen, and then we would all leave together for 15 minutes or so, and then we'd come back. That way, the strippers weren't going a full chunk of time without getting paid. They would just have to wait for little 10-minute matches every now and then.
It's like, hey, nice clam, but I really need to watch this suplex over here.
Right, you can see that anytime in the strip club.
Yeah,
and that's how pinups made their money, is they would put out radio promotions talking about how on top of coming and looking at the strippers, you can see World Wrestling Alliance.
And it's like, yeah, that's going to be there all day when this wrestling promotion leaves.
Right, it's done, then we can enjoy it.
So probably all the regulars loved it.
Oh, they loved it. And they knew us, so they got real into it. We did have one drunk guy, one of my first nights there, jump into the ring and attack one of our guys. And the entire ring went in. We all went in, beat the tar out of this dude. He's trying to climb out of the ring, and Rocky's yelling, bring him back in. So we yank him back in. We didn't send him to the hospital or anything, but he was hurting. I mean, he had to be kind of walked out of there by the bouncers. The bouncers were laughing the whole time.
You had just practiced all your moves on him.
Basically, everybody's hitting finishers on him, but not going soft, and
yeah, just letting him hit it, but not trying to land him, spike him on his head.
Right.
But this is what you get.
It was fun, and that way everybody knew, don't get in the ring.
That's teamwork right there.
Yes, teamwork.
And then it never happened again?
No, we didn't have it happen again.
That's awesome. So, you win the belt. You're on the height of your career. What's next?
So Rocky pulls me aside. At the time, Teddy Long, who had been a referee, was now the general manager of SmackDown.
Okay.
Rocky would talk to him on the phone a lot. They were very good friends. I mean, there were times we'd be in the locker room and Teddy would call him and they'd be chatting. So Rocky pulled me aside one night and he goes, hey, look, kid. He always called me son or kid. He would tell me, we'd be in the back locker room joking around with each other, ribbing each other. And anytime anybody said anything about me, he'd jump up. Don't talk about my son. Don't you dare talk about my son. Whatever reason, he loved me. We got along real well. So he pulled me aside.
You were probably the only clean athlete, straight head on your shoulder.
Yeah, and I tried to be very respectful and play the game, right? When I was the new guy.
And you listen, you're very coachable, so I'm sure you were back then.
Yeah, I always try to be very respectful. And he pulled me aside. He said, look, kid, you're the kind of guy the WWE wants. Give me 6 more months and I'm going to get you in. I'll call and I'll get you in and we'll get you in there,
Wow.
Yeah. So I was I went home. I couldn't even sleep that night. I was so excited. This is it, And at the time I was 210. I think he said, let's put a little bit more weight on you. And so I was like, okay, I'll put on a little bit more muscle,
Was that hey, juice a little?
No, he didn't say it. And I think he liked that I didn't. So I wasn't planning on it.
Good. So you never juiced.
No.
Good man.
I was too scared of what it would do.
No, yeah, it's why ruin the end?
Right.
That's like erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, I don't want
organs growing, cancer growing. It's a recipe for disaster in the long run. And it's funny, all these clinics, these testosterone clinics, everybody who goes to them gets told they're low on testosterone.
Oh, yeah. That was, I had a lot of guys who worked within the sheriff's department. They would go do the T-test and then get testosterone.
Have you ever met anybody who was sent home and said, oh, no, your testosterone is fine?
No.
Never. Because that's their money to sell the... No one goes to Starbucks and they say, yeah, you look pretty energized.
Yeah, you don't need coffee.
You don't need coffee. No, it's not like that. So you're excited. You go home back to California.
No, so I stayed here.
Okay.
I stayed in Atlanta, and I'm like, okay, cool, 6 months, and we'll see what happens. I had a match, and in the match, I was going to pick the guy up for a wipeout, so I'd have him on my shoulders. I think he was 240. I was going to get him on my shoulders. He was going to counter it, and then we were going to continue on from there. So I pick him up, and I slipped on the mat. So the way I came down when he started hitting me, instead of coming down flat on my back, I landed on my knees. So all his weight came straight down on my spine and crunched my spine. And it made like an audible crunch.
It compressed or did it twist a little?
Yeah, it twisted a little, but mainly just compressed it. Okay. I remember hitting the mat and grabbing my back and looking over at Rocky, and Rocky's got this look on his face like, uh-oh.
Pale.
Yes, like, oh no, what's this? And so we finished the match. I get done. He says, kid, go to the doctor in the morning. So I'll go to the doctor, and my spine, he did an x-ray, my spine looked like an S.
Oh no.
And he's like, your back's destroyed. Here's some meds, come in next week, blah, 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 whatever. Like, we might have to do surgery. He's like, stay off it for 2 weeks. And I'm like, doc, I got 2 shows on Saturday night. This was Friday morning. Like, I got 2 shows tomorrow night. And he goes, no, you don't. And I said, no, doctor, I do. And he said, well, whatever. I'm not the doctor then. And he got mad at me. So I went and did 2 shows the next night. And I just told the guys, hey, let's go easy on my back. So I didn't do any picking up, when I didn't have to. I didn't take a lot of bumps.
You hot dogged it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We kind of worked around it.
More mic skills.
Yes. More of a show, a lot of holds, submission holds.
Okay.
Not a lot of slamming. And you
kept it in 3rd gear.
I held it down,
Nice.
Let's get through this. And I stayed and I did it for another, not too much longer. My back kept bugging me. And I had been thinking a lot about things because I knew I always wanted a family. I knew I always wanted a wife and kids.
And that probably became real that you're on borrowed time.
Yes. I remember reading a book by Kurt Angle where he was talking about how he left WWE to go to TNA because they told him he'd only have to wrestle once a month at pay-per-views because his back had gotten so bad that the doctor told him, if you keep this up, you're going to be in a wheelchair in another year. Say goodbye to playing.
Bad too.
Yes, he broke it when he was wrestling in the Olympics.
Wow.
As he says, I won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. That's a saying.
And yeah, he was a micer too.
He was good on the mic. He was a lot of fun. He played the wholesome, all-American wrestler. He did a great job.
For somebody who was, I'm sure he's just been interviewed a ton being an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah, he's probably used to it. So I thought about that. I thought about, well, if I'm a wrestler, I'm never going to be around my kids, because they travel all year.
Yeah,
they're on the
circus.
road all year. Yeah.
It's literally a traveling circus.
Correct. So I didn't know. I went back and forth. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go back to California for 6 months so I can finish. I needed 6 more months to finish my associates. So I said, let me take a break, give my back a rest. I'll finish my associates, come back to Georgia, and keep going. So I went home, and then pretty much immediately when I got home, I met Janelle.
How'd you guys meet?
So we went to church together. She was at the church I was going to. But then on top of that, I started working at Islands because my brother and his now wife were working there.
The burger place?
Yes.
Were you guys in Temecula?
By the mall, yeah.
So, all right. So this is good old Temecula.
This is good old Temecula. Right by the mall. And my brother, I got back, and he's like, hey, just come work with us. You need a job, come work. And so I was like, all right. And so me and Janelle would work together. We were both hosts.
She worked
there. So
you guys were 25-year-old hosts.
Oh yeah. So we said, and I didn't care. I had a bunch of money saved up from wrestling, so I was like, I wanted to move up to server, but I also told the manager I'm not in a rush, because the host gig's pretty easy. Yeah, you just seat people, And she pretty much, because I was kind of an older host, she usually let me run the front booth, so I had everybody else cleaning the tables and stuff.
So you got the boss Janelle.
I got the cush. Oh yeah, but Janelle, would take advantage of me. and talk about how she wasn't feeling well. Can I take this spot? You can go do dishes. And she kind of suckered me into it. She's going to get mad when she hears this, but
she suckered
she knows the truth.
So you guys met at church or Islands?
Both. It was kind of all together. So I'd see her Sundays at church. I'd see her 3 days a week at Islands.
But you got to really talk to her at Islands.
At Islands, yeah.
Yeah, not just, hey, cute girl at my church.
Right. So the first time I saw her was at church, and I remember seeing her, and I knew the girl that she came in with and was friends with, and I went, oh, that girl's cute. And then we started working at Islands, and then worked the magic from there. Yeah. She had actually been friends with my sister growing up, but I didn't remember her because my sister's Janelle's 5 years younger.
Yeah, you're not going to
You're not paying attention. When you're 13, you're not paying attention to an 8-year-old girl
not
or whatever.
A pedo, you sick
right.
Here, right? So then that was it. How long till you guys were married?
Man, we went on our first date in October, end of October. We did some Halloween stuff. And then I asked her to marry me April 6th the next year. So we dated for, 4.5 months or so? And then, 5 months. And then we were engaged for 4.5 months and got married.
Oh, wow. So you guys did it in a year.
Yeah. So under a year.
Now, is that normal with like Mormons?
I think so. I mean, in general, my thought's always been, if I know I'm going to marry them, let's just do the engagement long enough to plan the wedding and be done with it.
Okay.
You know?
That's cool. Yeah, we did ours short.
Plus, no. I was going to say, when you're Mormon, you're not supposed to have premarital stuff.
Really?
So,
okay.
you kind of want to hurry up the
so
marriage,
you rush
right?
the
Yeah,
thing.
you kind of want to get married, right?
Like, come on, we're horny. We need to get it. Let's get this. Makes sense.
Right. The kiddos are going to listen. So I was like, how can I say this in a way that,
They'll be there. They'll be
throwing
there and Mormon and in that rut, married in that 9 months.
But it's been great. I mean, I've never regretted it.
Oh,
I've never
she's
looked back.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I love
her.
Jan. She's awesome. You guys are a great family.
We work well together.
And you got 3 kids?
3 boys. I love it.
And you guys all do jujitsu?
Yes. I was the last one to join the group.
You were?
Yes.
It was, who was first?
Hunter was first.
Hunter, then Braven.
Then Brave.
Shortly after.
Yeah.
And then Fox tried it and dabbled a little bit.
Right. He was a member, but Steph would usually have to coax him onto the mat with a quarter and try to get him out that way. Yeah, from your candy machine. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, wow, that's right. And then Janelle was doing the ladies class.
Yes, and that was when I was injured and off work, so I wasn't screwing with that.
Yeah, I remember. She came to my classes too.
Yeah.
You got started just right before I left.
Right, I finally got the official, hey, we're retiring you, right before you left. And as soon as they told me, hey, we're retiring you, and I knew I could do whatever I wanted then because I wasn't on work comp anymore, I went ahead and went in and
did that. I always remembered you would lift back in the day. And
yeah.
Oh, you were always lifting.
I loved lifting. I grew up a really, really skinny kid. My dad used to joke that I had to run around in the shower to get wet because I was so skinny. And I worked out. I just couldn't put on weight. And I finally started, eating more calories and putting on the weight. And I would do 2 days in the gym and got a lot bigger. And then...
So when did you start lifting?
When I was 16.
Okay.
When I was 16, my parents were going to Gold's Gym in Temecula. And they invited me to come with them and try it out. And I loved it. I got on for $9 a month as an add-on to their family plan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't bad at all.
That was back when Gold's Gym was like $60 a person, too.
Yeah. And it was a big gym, and it was just weights. There was no, no swimming pool, no basketball court, none of that stuff that you see at a lot of gyms. It was weights. This was all
and treadmills and ellipticals.
Yeah, they had cardio stuff. But
yeah, Gold's always used to have, they used to be behind that weightlifting platform.
Yes.
Like the Ironmans, not Ironmans, like Arnold.
Right.
And then it's became commercial.
And then it finally became commercial, which was sad to see because when I first started going there were 3 trainers. They were all 40s to 50s, jacked, just legit guys who had been around it, knew what they were doing. You looked at them and went, I want to look like this guy. And they had different. They had one guy that was huge, one guy that was more trim, but very ripped. They had different stages of, well, what do I want to look like?
And also weightlifting and exercise 15, 20 years ago wasn't the norm for as many people.
Right. It's gotten a lot more popular.
It's become more popular. People are looking good when they get older because they're taking care of themselves more. And I think that's a new thing. Somebody 50 back then is not the same 50 as now.
Right. And I always remember when I was 16 years old, there was one night where all my friends were working, and it was a Friday night, And I said, you know what? I'll just go to the gym at night. I usually would go to the gym at like 4 o'clock or so. And I was like, I'll wait till tonight. So I went at about 6 o'clock. Nobody was in there. I was the only person on a Friday night working out. And then fast forward to me being in my 20s. And I remember going to the movies on a Friday night and going to the gym after thinking, all right, 11 o'clock on a Friday night, it's going to be dead. And I went in there and it was packed. It was all the 16 to 18-year-old crowd in there. It was like a nightclub.
All right, yeah. That was like when it was social hour.
Right.
The guys are coming to pick up chicks.
Right. That's the difference, that you were talking about.
Well, gym culture has changed.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I remember being part of one in Temecula, and I would go in a dirty shirt and basketball shorts, and everybody's got matching stuff to their Beats headphones.
Oh, yeah.
And then me and my buddy are in there in stained clothes like, what's up with this fashion show? These guys don't know how to work out.
Right.
You can't work out in beat headphones if you're working out, right? Because they're not designed to do a hard enough workout.
Right.
It's fashion.
Yep. Guys who come in there and just they chit chat. They take up a bench and chit chat for 20 minutes. And work out and be done. Like move on.
It's just like I'm on my third set, bro.
Yeah. I'm getting to it.
Yeah. I need to get my shake still being made.
Yeah, they would bring in the shake. That wasn't a thing before.
Yeah. The shake shop.
Yeah.
And now it's like shake shops more than like a McDonald's value meal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember I went to an LA Fitness in Temecula where they had the smoothie thing inside the LA Fitness.
Yeah, it's like we put protein powder in water.
Yeah.
And put some whipped cream on top.
You can't do this at home. Pay me $10 for this.
And people's freaking laziness make them pay for it. So, what made you come out to Georgia? I think that was the original question.
That was the original question. So when I was
just hit a bunch of things on my list about you without first one. What'd you move to Georgia?
So
tell me a bit.
I loved it when I was out here wrestling. I loved I think it's beautiful out here. I love the culture. I love that it's slower paced and people are a lot.
Were you in Atlanta when you were out here?
I was in Tucker, which is about 20 minutes northeast of Atlanta.
So it's like another Marietta.
Yeah, it was very small town at the time. I don't know how it is now. I'm
sure Marietta probably was smaller. This Marietta.
Right,
Georgia.
Marietta, yeah. So it was a smaller area. I really liked it, though. It was very slow paced. People were very friendly, very nice. It did not make me think of like California at all. Seemed like people were more like genuinely family oriented out here.
Yes.
So I always told Janelle, when I retire, we're moving to Georgia, right? And she'd always, okay, whatever. We figured,
she was raised in California.
She was raised in California as well.
She was probably like, over my dead
she'd roll her eyes,
Yeah, we're coming to Georgia.
She figured, hey, you're not going to retire till you're 55, so whatever, we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, I got my stuff going on here. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and we'll figure that out later. And then I blew my knee out. I was on work comp for almost a year and a half. They did surgery. They did physical therapy.
So how'd you blow your knee? Were you chasing somebody over a misdemeanor?
No, I wish it was something cool. All the fights that I was in as a cop, and I never got injured. And I'm doing training at the Rose Bowl parking lot in Pasadena. We were doing training, bike training. It was overtime, so I'm like, whatever. I always took overtime, especially training overtime, because they were going to pay us.
You were trying to pull some wheelies.
Yeah, well, they were paying us overtime to go out there,
ride a bike,
spend a few nights out there. We got hotel rooms. They gave us per diem for food, and we were hanging out.
You get to watch the event too, right?
No, we weren't working overtime. This was training to do bike overtime.
Oh, and you weren't at the Rose Bowl.
Nothing was going on there.
Okay,
we were just in the empty parking lot.
Oh, okay.
So we're in this dirty, empty parking lot, and it's got all this broken asphalt everywhere. They're having us do these drills, and they had us do skid stops. So they're telling us, go as fast as you can, and we hit the cone, hit the brakes, skid, put one knee down, right, 1 foot down, and you're going to skid and stop. And so we were doing it. It was going fine, but they're yelling at everybody, you're not going fast enough. I want somebody to go fast enough. So I'm like, all right, you want me to go fast? So I went fast. And I'm thinking in my head, like, there's no way anything bad's going to happen. They wouldn't be telling us to go fast, right?
Yeah, they care about, they're doctors.
Right, they care about. So I start hauling it, and I hit the cones, and I hit the brakes. I put my foot down, and I think I would have been okay, except there was a bunch of loose asphalt, and my bike skid out from underneath and went one way and took my body one way, and my left foot stayed planted and stayed where it was, and my knee just bent right inward and popped real loud.
So was there any point in that where you're like, when this was happening, you're like, oh, these guys only got an associate degree. Maybe they don't know what they're talking about.
No, I didn't think about that at all. I figured nothing's going to happen. No biggie.
Or else they would make us do it.
Right. And so I lay there for a minute. I kind of try to get up, and people are like, oh, let me help you. No, I'm fine. And then I fall down, and So a couple guys helped me up, and they took me to the hospital. And
like, yeah, you fucked your knee up.
yeah, it ended up being a lot worse. I'm thinking they're like, all right, we're gonna put you on work comp until we figure this out. I'm thinking, man, like I worked so much overtime for 10 years. I'm like, I might get like a week or two off. This might be kind of nice. You know, I've never had a break.
Yeah, right. You've never had a vacation.
Year and a half later, I still hadn't done anything, and they couldn't fix it. They got it to where it was working good, but it will still give out from time to time.
Okay.
So I'll be like walking, and it'll just go, and I'll fall. Right. And that was the doctor's main concern. Was he's like, man, if somebody needs your help, right? Somebody calls 911,
or
and
you're in
the
a
guy,
firefight,
right? Or you're in a fight, and your knee gives out. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to sue the department because you shouldn't have been there, and we're all getting sued. So he gave me a permanent restriction of no physical combat. So the department had to make a decision. Do we keep him on and give him some kind of admin spot for the next 20 years?
Yeah, they put you behind a desk, or they make you write like parking tickets.
Right, which I would have been furious with because that's not why I became a cop.
That's not
right?
why you were there.
Some guys love that because the schedule's good and they can work around the family. But for me, I wanted to be out there chasing bad guys.
Yeah, you don't want to hand somebody a parking ticket because they forgot to put a quarter in.
I pulled over. I can't tell you how many cars I pulled over, but I gave out 2 tickets my whole time. And that's only because people made me really, like, you had to really make me mad to get a ticket.
No, I figured you were a really good cop, like a really, like, good, just like what the rest of the cops should be like.
Right, I tried. That was my goal. Every night I went out.
You saw the good and the bad in the police department.
Yeah. I was lucky. I worked with a bunch of good guys. We worked night shift, and our goal was to handle calls when they came and then to hunt, right? We didn't go and, like, put our feet up and chill when there weren't calls. We were driving through the alleys with our lights off, looking for people that were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah, you're not out there just hassling like, oh, you weren't wearing your seatbelt.
No, I didn't care. Yeah.
That's one of the most ridiculous laws.
The seatbelt law. Yeah.
Yeah, that just shows it's funding.
Oh, 100%.
It's not because you care. I had 8 seatbelt tickets, so I'm really.
It's a lot of seatbelt tickets.
Yeah, New Jersey, they care. Everywhere else, they don't give a fuck.
No, and the motor cops, that's their job.
That's their job. They're
give out tickets.
They're not, because you're not supposed to chase a vehicle on a motorcycle.
Oh, you're not going to catch them, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could catch them, but they'll just turn into
when you're on the motorcycle, right? Yeah.
You're there just to easily speed through traffic and write tickets,
right?
You're not going to go sideswipe a semi and take it over.
No, you're not doing that.
No, that's the cops in 4 wheels.
Doing the pit maneuver with your
motorcycle. Right. Doing that skid steer thing you were doing.
Oh, go well, yeah.
Go real fast because you're going to do it on a motorcycle next.
And what you said about money, it was true because those guys would get tons of overtime on grants. So they'd come in on overtime and go, hey, if you need like us for an emergency, let us know. But otherwise, we're going to be at this intersection doing seatbelt tickets because we're getting paid by the state of California to give out seatbelt tickets today. We're going to be at this intersection.
Yeah, this is $300 because you were in a hurry.
Right.
Like, I went from one stop to my other quarter of a mile away when I was doing the vending.
Yeah.
Still got a ticket.
Really?
Just because I pulled out and I had to pull into another shop.
Yeah, see, that's not cool.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
If I pulled a car over...
And then, wait, get this. It was my charity vending machines.
Oh, that's real messed up.
Yeah, I know.
That's dirty.
I know. He didn't care. He didn't care. So, you got discharged.
Yes. Yeah, they medically retired me. And I said, all right, well...
I'm just going to hang out.
I'm retired.
I'm just going to hang out here.
Right, and we had to make a decision.
Didn't want to move.
Well, so I told her, let's look at Georgia, right? We started looking at houses. I was looking around the Atlanta area, but trying to find places close to gyms. I was checking out the different gyms out there because at this point, the boys have been training for several years, right? Hunter had been training for 3 or 4 years at this point. So I'm like, we want to keep this up. I want to start training. Let's find a good gym. And that's when Janelle came to me and said, hey, you know, Tom and Steph are moving and opening a gym, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, they're opening one in Tennessee. I didn't realize where you were moving and opening one. And I said, okay, well, that sucks. It's not one state lower, you know? And she said, no, they're going to be in Chattanooga. It's on the border. And I think the next morning I brought Hunter in and you and I were talking and you were telling me about Ringgold and different areas in Georgia.
Probably after my second trip.
Right. And so I was like, all right,
we had this building signed.
Yes. Yeah. You already had the building. 100%. So we came out here, we flew out here, we flew into Atlanta and drove up here. And on the drive, it was fall time. It was November. So all the trees were changing color. Like it was looking good. And Janelle was like, man, this is nice out here. And she fell in love with it.
Was your mind already made up? Like,
my mind
I
was
couldn't
ready.
wait
Let's
to
get out of
leave
here.
this place.
Yeah, I mean, that's what most cops want to get out of California once they're done.
But it's like cops start at like 60 out there, right?
I can't remember what I started. I think I started at 25 an hour in the academy. I think I went to 30 when I graduated. And then I was at like 55 when I retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't super much. I thought they started at like 60,000.
Well, no, I might. So yeah. I mean,
$55
an hour.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I ended up.
Hourly.
Yeah, hourly. So I don't know what that is, but I would get with overtime. I mean, it was good amount.
If you get 25 an hour, I think it equals to 52,000 a year.
Okay. So that's what I started at then in the academy.
Which is good. Here they used to start at 30, I heard.
Okay. Yeah, and the academy, I mean, the academy's rough, but you know, you're just learning you're learning and doing physical stuff. You're not like in any kind of danger. You're not.
Yeah, it just sucks. Somebody's
They yell at you. Yeah,
it's
that
like
sucks.
boot camp.
Right. Yeah, ours was
Okay.
very paramilitary run.
So you were done, and then you came out, and
We came out, looked at houses, and we found the one we're in, and we fell in love with it and the property, and that was that.
so what was it? Probably like a day or two of you and Janelle being here that you guys were like, all right, let's figure it out.
Oh yeah,
You looked at a couple houses in Tennessee too, right?
we did. There weren't a lot in Tennessee at the time. We looked at one.
There's
in
still
Saudi
not
Days.
a lot.
Well, and we wanted property, so it was hard because we wanted somewhere that had at least a couple acres.
Right. You got 5 acres
We
now.
got 5. We ended up with 5, which was great.
Do you have what is it? Those side-by-side mowers?
Zero turn, yes.
Zero turn. That's
Yes.
it. Those are the good mowers.
Oh yeah,
How long does it take you to do 5 hours?
like 2.5 hours to do the 5 acres.
On the zero turn.
Mhm.
I wonder what it would have took you before.
Oh,
5
that would've
acres
been
is a lot.
It is a lot, and I've got hill, and I've got trees that I'm having to go around, and there's a lot of little obstacles I got to do.
That's awesome. How do you guys like it so far?
I
out
love
here?
it.
Happy you made the decision to
I
move
couldn't
out
be
here?
happier. There's times I walk outside and I look at, or I sit in my dining room and I look out at everything and the greens, the green everywhere. That's what's crazy. We just did that cross country trip a couple weeks ago, and driving across the country and seeing how ugly a lot of the country is. Especially like the middle of the country, and then getting back here where everything's green and beautiful and there's trees, and it's like, man, I couldn't be happier.
And when you were out in California, you're like, we don't miss this place so much.
No, I don't. The traffic, so bad.
I know it gets bad around here, but it's not like it's there.
No, I mean, we were in Murieta.
Although Atlanta traffic's bad.
Well, Atlanta traffic's horrible. But,
I don't think it's as bad as LA.
No. Yeah,
It's
LA's
different.
terrible.
LA's terrible.
I mean, LA is any time of the day now you go through your stuff.
Yeah, Orange County gets bad too.
Orange County does get bad. The 5 freeway gets real backed up.
Yeah, it's a nightmare out there right now.
It's horrible. I'm not worth it. We went out there and visited, and we drove from my brother's place in Costa Mesa back to Murieta to visit for a little bit on a Sunday afternoon, and we got stuck in traffic. And we were like, I'm done. Zero desire to come back to this place ever. This place is horrible.
So you weren't even excited to go visit?
I was excited to see family and friends, but like California itself, nah.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, the weather's nice, but that's about it.
So we got to know about Bowser.
Oh, that's my baby.
That's your baby.
That's my baby.
What is Bowser?
Bowser is a black and white Argentine tegu.
How long is this?
He was 4.5 feet long.
He's a giant lizard, basically. Yes. 4.5 feet long, was 4.5 feet long. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. He doesn't weigh too much. I think he's probably 10 to 15 pounds. He's not very heavy.
He's big.
He's big.
He's big, but they're a lizard, so I guess they're not super heavy.
Yeah, he's not super heavy.
I even think the Komodo dragons aren't super heavy.
Those are what got me into wanting one.
Really?
Well, when I was a kid, I remember going to the San Diego Zoo, seeing the Komodo dragon, and thinking that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
They had a Komodo dragon at the San Diego's. They don't have it anymore.
I don't know. They have them at the Chattanooga right here.
The Komodo dragon, the giant poisonous thing from the Galapagos Islands.
They've got 2 of them here.
At the Chattanooga Zoo.
I go and just stare at them.
How big are they?
They're huge.
And it just wants to kill you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What if they got loose in the city and started breathing?
Oh, it'd be Jurassic Park too.
Oh, man. You would have to just worry about traffic and Komodo dragons like getting you with their poison fangs.
Yes.
So you saw this thing and you're like, oh, this is the ultimate killing machine.
I want one.
I want one.
Like every
I
little
want
kid.
it to love me.
Yes, I want it to love me. I want this to be my friend. I'm a firm believer that you can get any animal, and if you raise it from a baby and raise it right, it'll be good.
Really?
I could be wrong, but I'm a pretty firm
I don't
believer in
know.
that.
I heard those Komodo dragons.
You don't think so? I bet if I got one as a baby.
As a baby?
I bet I could train it.
But what about if it accidentally, like, scratched you and you're going to be dead in
Oh,
a
you're
day and a
screwed.
half?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man, this is going to suck. And then it's going to eat you.
You have to figure out something to put over the claws.
Does it have, like, a personality, the lizard?
Bowser?
Yeah.
He does. He's not much. He's a lot like a cat in the sense that if he doesn't want to be doing anything, he's not going to do it. You can't put him on your lap on the couch and he's just going to sit there. He might, or he might just go, nah, I'm done with you. Like, I'm going to go walk around. But he does have personality. In our old house, we had a game room and I had a pool table in there. And I would spend probably an hour, 5 days a week in there shooting pool. And I'd play music and just shoot pool and just think. And I'd let Bowser roam around in there with me and he would do his little laps. And he'd just go back and forth. But every time he'd come around me, instead of just walking by me, he would either rub up against me and then continue his lap, or he would nuzzle into my leg until I reached down and pet him, and he'd lift up his head to get his pets, and then he'd move on.
Really?
Yeah. So
they like being pet.
He does.
So do fish. Like
Fish
octopus. I saw videos of octopus getting pet, and they love it.
Really?
Yeah. Like they're getting pet, and they keep swimming into the scuba diver's hand.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Things like getting pet.
Yeah. That's nice.
Crazy. Yeah,
Little contact.
I guess. A little nice hard pet.
Yeah.
Feels good on the sore muscles.
Right.
Where'd you get it from?
Online.
What do one of these things cost?
He was, I think, $250.
$2,500?
No, $250.
Oh, that's a deal.
Yeah, he was under.
Should have got 8.
Yeah, I should. I don't know what I would do with that many.
It's hard to take care of, though, right?
Yeah, they're expensive. They take up a lot of space. If not trained properly, they are mean.
Really?
They're real mean. I had people at the pet store show me big scars on their hand. Like one guy that worked at the pet store I used to go to in Menifee. He had a huge scar on his hand that he told me was from a tegu that they had gotten because somebody didn't want it because it was too mean. And he tried to do something in the tank and it bit his hand and tore it up real good.
Wow.
When I took Bowser to the vet up here, the Mountain Hospital vet on Lookout Mountain, guy's great. He does exotics. He was telling me about some bad things he's seen with tegus. I guess the aquarium got one. Somebody dropped off and they got rid of it because it was trying to attack everybody in there.
What?
Yeah, so he was talking about how he couldn't believe how good Bowser is, and that he's just like this calm, chill lizard.
Wow. And he's probably never seen one, huh?
He had seen a couple.
Okay.
Because he helps the zoo and the aquarium.
Now, Bowser had an issue recently, right?
He did. He had a bacteria.
On his tail, right?
On his tail and on his upper back.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So what they have to do to it?
They amputated his tail, half of it. So that's why I said he was 4.5 feet, because now he's about 3.5 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They took
but
off
the tail grows back.
The tail will grow back. So, well, it should. Sometimes they grow at a funky angle, but he said he cut it real good, and he said that how it looks like it'll grow back nice.
He's like, yeah, write the check.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot more you think for cutting off a tail, but
it's going to be perfect. Sign this check.
Right, yeah, it'll be good. It'll work. But it's weird because they don't grow bone back. Right? So
it's the tail bone?
There's a bone that runs through the tail, yeah.
And some of the bone was cut off.
And so they had to cut through the bone too. So it'll just be cartilage that grows.
Okay. Maybe they don't need the bone.
No, he doesn't need it. I mean, the tail's mainly for balance.
Okay.
They'll use it for defense, but he doesn't need to use it for defense, so.
You defend him.
Yeah, I defend him.
We're
buddies.
You got guns.
We got through our teenage years of him being a brat. Now
was he a brat?
Oh, they all go through it. All tegus, no matter how good they are as a baby, will go through their like teenage years when they're about two.
No kidding.
Yeah, he used to try to bite me, he'd tail whip. I remember one time he swung his tail at me and I dodged it, and Hunter was right next to me and he cracked Hunter right in the nose, and Hunter started bleeding everywhere.
Whoa,
yeah.
was it a hard hit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, those tails are strong.
Wow. And so it was just a wild teenager.
He was rough. And then one time he tried to bite me. I could tell he was getting ready to bite. And he came running at me, and there was a shoe right next to me. And so I grabbed the shoe. He jumped in the air. I cracked him with the shoe. I grabbed him by the throat and pinned him upside down, and then held his tail with my other hand and just held him there as he tried to get me. Probably about a minute, he struggled, and then he tuckered himself out. And I picked him up and held him and was petting him to really like rub it in,
Yeah.
And then I put him back in his tank, and then I climbed in his tank and sat there and pet while looking at him, and he just kind of accepted it. And then after that,
you guys were the best.
After that, we were good. Yeah, now we've become really good friends.
Wow, I didn't even know lizards had personalities.
Yeah, he's got a good one.
They all do. All animals do.
Right.
I got a bird that comes out and sees us. It's injured.
Oh, you've still got the bird?
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
But there's a new one. We walk to the dog park every day.
Really?
And there's a bird that got injured. Like, it's it hurt its wings and it can't fly. But it runs real fast.
Yeah.
And it found an area where and it blends in with the rocks, and it found an area where cats won't get to it.
Okay.
It's like in the middle of the church. The woods are on the outskirts, but it's like in the middle green area, and it lives in the bush.
Oh, nice.
And every morning it comes out, like if we walk by, it'll fly out and see us and chirp at us and then walk us back to the apartment and fly back.
That's good. You know what kind of bird it is?
I don't know, but it's learning to fly more and more as time goes on.
Oh, good.
It's crazy. Yeah, the thing,
Birds are
it
cool.
runs fast.
Really?
Yeah, it learned to run fast. It found an area where it blends in with the rocks.
So it adapted to its injury.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
cool.
eventually gonna, I think it flies better and better as time goes on. It's been there 6 months. So
Oh,
it's
cool.
eventually gonna fly away.
Yeah.
We call it the dodo.
The dodo.
The dodo, 'cause and it runs so fast. It's crazy to see animals evolve like that.
And that's a cool thing about the South, too. The birds.
Oh, they're beautiful.
California, I'd look out my window and it's pigeons. They'd poop all around
Yeah.
on the pool fence. They just sit there and poop. You know, here we got all these cool blue jays and cardinals.
Yeah, I got this red cardinal that lives outside my apartment. Then I was thinking, like, oh, what kind of birds does this thing fuck?
Right.
Because there's a bunch of. It's the only beautiful one in my apartment. Does it always gotta like
So the girl,
date down?
the girl birds are not as good looking.
Well, it's this red one, and then it's gotta like. Is it always sad because it can never date something to its standard?
I don't know.
It's always got to screw down.
I don't know what the deal is with that because female cardinals are like a brownish gray color. And that's how it is with a lot of the birds. I've been learning more about birds as we've been out here because I put out a bird feeder and all this stuff. So we got all these birds coming by. Yeah, the females a lot of times are like a dull, not very attractive. I think the boy birds don't care. They just want to have sex and make babies.
They're like, I'll fuck anything around this apartment.
Right, they don't care.
I thought they just have to like live with just knowing they'll never find something as beautiful as them. I mean, this is beautiful. This thing's so beautiful that I wanted to fuck it.
Oh, well, there you go.
But then it would be going down, and
I
I would still feel bad for the bird. So
I'm
not doing it favors.
No, you're not gonna.
So you were a police officer,
Yes,
as well. You just mentioned that. How was it?
I loved it.
Anything crazy?
Oh yeah, every night. That was great. So I was sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department, they're in charge of the county. So they're in charge of jails, courts, the airport, and then any patrol or any city that contracts with them. So as a city, you get to choose. Do I want to have my own police department and fund that? Or do I want to contract with the sheriff's department and they'll cover the patrol?
Hemet did sheriff's department, right?
Hemet did sheriff's.
And that's why they had a lot of
Temecula
crime.
was sheriff's.
Oh, okay.
They said police on the car. Riverside County, whatever reason, made a deal with all their cities that they would put police on the car, but they were actually sheriff's department.
Wow.
So Temecula was sheriff's, Murrieta was PD. So it just depends what you want. Sometimes it's more expensive to do a PD, but you have more control as a city council because you're the chief of police's boss.
Yeah, it's not the county.
Right. Whereas with the county, the sheriff's in charge, and the sheriff is an elected official, so nobody's the sheriff's boss. The people are the sheriff's boss.
Okay.
So the sheriff's department, the sheriff has a lot of power.
What sheriff did you work for? The Riverside County one?
No, Orange County.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
Was he the one who spoke against mandates?
Yes.
Yeah, he's
The Riverside one did too a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He said, I'm not
So
going to
did
enforce this.
so did Temecula mayor.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I own 4 hair salons. We're not putting anybody out of business.
Well, that's what I loved about Dan's. They closed for 2 or 3 weeks and then opened up. Said,
Opened it back,
Yep.
And then the police would pull in every day, wave to us.
Yeah, they didn't
like,
care.
How's it going? No one cared.
Cops didn't care.
Everybody's like, oh, California's so left. Yes, San Diego and LA.
Right.
And Sacramento.
And San Francisco and Sacramento. Yeah, they ruin it for the whole
state. Otherwise, it's actually really, really right.
Right. Murrieta was super conservative.
Super right. And they fought against mandates, which proved to be like a mistake.
Yeah, the CDC's director has come out and said the masks that everybody wears, they don't do anything.
They don't do anything. Actually,
Even the director's saying, like, yeah.
Actually, we're finding microfibers in your lungs.
Right.
Like, it turns out it was bad.
Oops. Our mistake.
Yeah, that's all right. You guys will die eventually.
Right.
Get the vaccine. That'll finish you off.
Yeah, the one that you have to get every few months.
Yeah.
You can still catch it.
Yeah, because it didn't kill you the first time. It'll take care of you the second time.
Oh, man.
So you homeschool your kids, too.
Yes.
Was that challenging?
Yes and no.
First of all, I guess I should ask why.
Janelle wanted to do it for a while. She was worried about all the politics coming into schools in California.
Okay, so what year are we talking? Like 17?
Probably right before the pandemic.
Oh, so you guys were like 2019.
Yeah, because they were going to school.
I thought so.
Hunter and Brave were going to school, but it was kind of, Janelle was worried. And so she wanted to pull Hunter out. And my thing was, now she keep him in there. The way she convinced me was that we agreed that Hunter would start going and doing the morning class at the gym as well. So he would start doing 2-a-days.
Okay.
And that's how she sold it to me, right? I'm like, all right, well, if he trains, which made a big difference because he was maybe getting bronze medal. He get a gold every once in a while if it was like him and another kid, but he really wasn't doing that great. And he was getting upset about it and kind of whatever. And I told him, look, you train more, you're going to do better.
Yeah.
And he did. It totally changed his tournament performance.
Yeah. He was killing it then at the end.
So
before you guys moved here.
Yeah.
And killing it out here.
He's been doing good. Brave's been doing, yeah, they're fun. But no, I mean, it's cool. I mean, Janelle always wanted to be a teacher. That's what she always wanted to do. And we made the decision when we had kids, like, look, I'll work and I'll do overtime. You stay home and take care of the kids. That way somebody's always home. And so this was kind of her opportunity to be a teacher. So she does a good job. We get the curriculum. She does lessons with them. I do the math.
I was going to say, I thought you were a teacher now too, because
yeah.
the overtime stopped.
Right. Yeah. I'm not working. So.
It's like, hey, let's add something to your plate.
Yeah. So, which is fine. I like math. I've always been good at math.
Oh, that's good.
I do the math with the kids. Yeah.
That's awesome. How is it teaching your own kids? Hard?
It's good. I mean, I'm probably talk to them in ways I wouldn't talk to somebody else's kids if I'm teaching them, I'll get on them sometimes, but no, it's good. And I like being able to sit there and explain to them and help them understand, because obviously Hunter's lesson is different than Brave's lesson is different than Jax's lesson. So I take one-on-one time with each of them.
Does schoolwork take less time that there's...
Yes. There is so much wasted time in school, right? I mean, I think about when we were growing up, right? And it was let's put on a 2-hour movie and let's, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of wasted time.
No, it's like, I could see for the social aspect. And there's other ways to get the social aspect. Come to find a gym, join a gym, go to church, events.
If they weren't coming here, it'd be hard. But because they come to the gym every day, I figure they get their social.
They get their friends.
Right.
There's men, there's boys, there's girls. They kind of get the whole thing.
They got neighborhood kids that they play with. So
they're not if they were not going out and doing extracurricular activities, it would be an issue.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And especially how things were a lot wackier in California.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, now it's like, what gender do you want to be? And we're not going to tell your parents, what you want to be called.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like, what?
Who's even doing that?
I don't know.
World's getting wacky.
It's getting crazy.
Living in some wacky times.
Well, you look at this bill in Florida, which is seems common sense to me, right? Like, hey, don't teach kindergarten through 3rd grade about sex stuff.
Yeah.
And people are getting on them about it and saying it's, anti-whatever. And it doesn't say don't teach them about this kind of gender. It says don't talk to them about anything sex,
Yeah,
people are upset about it.
You
shouldn't be. They need to learn how to read and write.
Yeah, that's it.
I can teach them about that other stuff. Like, you teach them read and write,
Yeah, at the appropriate time.
Right. And then when they get older, then we can talk about the sex ed stuff and have that weird
I hear that's going on a lot in college, too, that it's, like, not just learning. There's just, like, you're oppressed, you're this, you're that.
A lot of, what do they call it? Yeah, where teachers, exactly, they're putting their opinion and their thoughts instead of just teaching a subject. Well, it's like media now even. Media isn't, hey, this is the news, these are the facts. Decide what you think about it.
Yeah, no.
This is how you should think about it. If you're watching Fox News, they're going to tell you should think about it this way.
If you watch
CNN, this way.
And honestly, if you watch too much of each of them, they both have wrong points.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
100 points. You watch too much Fox News, you're going to think all the races hate each other.
Right.
And if you watch too much CNN, I wouldn't even know where to fucking start. But they both have bads if you go to the extreme.
Yes.
Common thing is middle ground.
Right. Which is where everybody should be.
I think everybody is. It's just we don't have a middle ground.
Right.
That's what I think it is. And then everybody's a label. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. No, we're just overdeveloped monkeys. Calm down.
Basically, yeah.
I'm a vegan. I'm this. I'm that. No, you're just an overdeveloped monkey. I'm a freedom fighter on this. No, you're an overdeveloped monkey. That's it. That's all we are is overdeveloped monkeys. We're all weird.
I'm not going to argue that.
I mean, what else is there? So, you're very involved in the Mormon church. You're actually the chancellor.
No, I'm not a chancellor. That sounds cool, though. I can go with that.
That's all I know. I was like, Dylan is chancellor of the Mormon Church, but you're pretty high up in the Mormon Church.
No, not really. I mean, I help out in the area, but you
have a leadership role.
Yeah, but I mean, we're in such a small little group that pretty much everybody has a leadership role. So it's not like, I'm not winning any awards for anything. I'm not doing. I mean, it's kind of like, all right.
I don't know. I heard once the service comes on, you get to go in back and sit in a goo bath.
No.
And then your other 9 wives come out.
Yes, and then the wives come out.
They're like, Dylan coming back. Get in the goo bath. The rest are coming. No, they got rid of that. It's monogamy now, right?
Oh, yeah. No, that was something when the church very first formed was going on. And then because my understanding is when the church first formed, right, it was trying to do exactly how the church had always been in the Bible.
Okay.
And if you look, right, like Abraham didn't just have Isaac, right? He had Ishmael from another wife, and Joseph had multiple wives. Okay. Jacob, right, who had Joseph. He had 12 kids.
Okay.
He had 4 different women that he had kids with. So it's kind of like, and as far as I understand it, it was to take care of them kind of thing. So if there was a woman, a widower without a husband, somebody would kind of, okay, come here, you'll be like my wife. I'm going to take care of you. It wasn't necessarily like you're my wife and we're 100% husband and wife role. It was more of I'm going to take care of you.
Okay.
And then when the U.S. was like, no, that you can't do that, they were like, all right, we're not doing it.
They're like, all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine, just don't arrest us.
It didn't help, though, with the beginning of the church, because that obviously made them look like, what are you doing? We don't like you.
But every church got wacky rituals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's because they're written so long ago.
Right. Oh, yeah. You look at some of the stuff in the Old Testament, and it's like, you should stone a woman if she speaks in church or whatnot.
Yeah, it's like,
wait, what?
That might be one of the stories. Well, it's like Bible's the collection of stories.
Right.
Some people definitely got their stuff in there without being factual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the story of Job just seems off to me.
There's a lot of stories that didn't make it into the Bible. And there's a lot of scriptures still being found.
There are scriptures referenced in the Bible, books that are referenced in the Bible that aren't in the Bible. So, yeah, like you're saying, there's stuff that got lost.
They're finding more in the Middle
Right.
East now, and scriptures that are, and a lot of people don't realize which there's only 4 in the traditional Bible. I think there's only 4 books that talk about Jesus, and that's multiple generations.
Huh.
So in the Christian, the real debate is whether he died and rose again. And if he didn't rose again, then it's all false.
Well, yeah, if he didn't rise again, what was the point?
Yeah,
right? Because the whole point was.
So that's like the pivotal. That is the pivotal point on the Christian religion.
Right.
Is if he died and rose again.
Right.
And it's just a book of books. Sorry, I kind of went off on a
No,
tangent.
and you know what? The one thing I've always thought of is, right, you think about it, who was in charge of these at during the time that the Bible was kind of kept?
Well, there's multiple King James version.
Right. There's different versions.
And when is a king completely not evil?
Exactly. So if I'm a king and I want something to happen and the Bible says in a book that you can't do it, I might tell the guy in charge, hey, get rid of that. Get rid of that chapter. I don't like that.
Nobody is holier than now.
Right.
Gandhi was a racist. Mother Teresa had crimes against humanity.
Really?
With her death camps, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And what's his name? The Dalai Lama was just a cult leader. Still around. Sleep with everybody's life, keep all the money.
Would he do that?
That's why he was exiled out of China.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, everybody thinks he's a hero. No, he was a cult leader just like the rest of them.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but because he was exiled, everybody gets him as a hero and
so he's
still
a hero.
alive.
Okay. Interesting.
But nobody's holier now. And I saw an interview of Gandhi's son, like, yeah, he was racist against black people. Everybody in India was. So at the end of the day, no one's holier than now.
Right. And unfortunately, people can use religion to take advantage of others.
Yes.
The Waco, Texas thing, that cult down there, I don't know if you remember that, where the feds raided it and people got killed. They did a special on that.
Where they drank the Kool-Aid. Was that where they actually drank the Kool-Aid?
No, I don't think that was a Kool-Aid. But I remember that the crazy part to me was that the guy, the leader of the church, who told everybody, hey, I talked to God, he tells me what he wants. He told them all, they were all living in a big community together, hey, God said he doesn't want us to have sex. Sex ruins us, it messes with us, but the women still need it. So I'm going to take that burden upon myself and I'll do that.
I'll do the hard work.
Right. And it was like, who buys into that? Who goes, yeah, go ahead. I believe it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here's
I
my
appreciate
wife.
that. Yeah.
Here's my wife and daughter. Thank you.
What a saint you are.
Yeah. Oh, or the Sadat Guru. Is that his name? The something Guru. I think it's Sadat. Yeah. Sadhguru he's a guru in India.
Okay.
And like I think in the 90s, his wife mysteriously died because she was doing yoga and she hit the ultimate yoga and hit nirvana and left her body behind.
Oh, that makes sense.
And traditionally in that culture, they're not supposed to cremate.
Okay.
You're supposed to leave the body, but he cremated before anything came around. And it was about the time he got caught having an affair.
Get rid of the evidence. Smart.
Yeah,
Cremate.
yeah. It's the girl's father's been putting out stuff about it for years.
Really? I hadn't heard about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard about it recently. Actually, Brian told me about it.
Okay.
It's actually something that slips my mind. The Gordy family was into pro wrestling.
Yes, that's what Chris was telling me.
Like their dad was, somebody was a semi-famous pro wrestler.
He was saying that everybody in the area would know who he is.
It's funny. I talked to Daniel. He knew exactly who he was. Did you know who he was?
No, but I was down in Atlanta area, so that might be why. I don't know how far down he went.
Or how old it was.
Or how old exactly,
Because it probably was pre-you in wrestling.
But that's cool.
I know. I think it's awesome. It's crazy how this is a wrestling community.
Oh, yeah. That's why I came out to the South.
I hear you have the biggest pop collection in northern Georgia.
Oh, wow. That might be true. So I have a very addictive personality and a very, I like to collect. So I have to avoid stuff because I get in trouble. And so I had heard about pops. I don't know. Do you even know what pops are?
They're these they come in this square box. And they're like big-headed figures.
Yes.
They almost about anything. Like you could get them on the Wu-Tang Clan or something.
You can look it up. They have it pretty much. So they started coming out with Marvel ones.
Are they limited edition?
Some are. So some they put out everywhere. Some are like the Walgreens special, and it'll have something different about it. And it has the sticker on it.
And it's time sensitive, usually?
Yeah, if you don't get in there and get it, yeah.
When it's gone, it's gone. They don't remake them.
Right. And there's people that will go and buy up all of them at a store and then put them on offer up and sell them for twice as much or whatever.
Wow. And they're Chinese toy, correct? Or Japanese?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Do they have Japanese writing on them?
Not the ones that I have, no.
Okay, but I think they are Asian.
Okay.
I think so.
I don't know. I just know people were collecting them, and we were at Target doing shopping, and Janelle goes, oh, hey, look, it was a Marvel one from one of the movies. And I was like, whatever. And I tried to avoid getting them because I'm like, if I start collecting them, it's going to get bad, right?
They have collection on it, right? Pop collector or pop collection?
Yes.
It's literally on the thing.
So I grabbed one, and I'm like, all right, I'll get it, right? And then there was another one. I threw it in the cart, too. And then I got home, and I wonder what other ones they have. And I started Googling it. And within maybe 2 months, I spent like $1,000 on
What do they
pops.
run?
If you get them like new and a normal size one, like $10 maybe.
Okay, so they're not even like $20.
No, but and then there's certain ones that are sold online only, and that will be like, a certain amount or whatever, and those will sell out fast. And
wow.
But I bought one, and now it's worth like $90 or whatever, and I've got so my collection that cost me about $1,000 right now, I think is at about $1,700.
Oh wow,
so
that's
I'm just
a good
leaving
investment.
it sitting. Yeah, so it's a good investment. I mean, it's only been around for the company not that long. It's relatively new, and they have pops that are worth thousands of dollars. So
you got any of those?
No, but I figure if I hold on to them,
yeah, they will.
Eventually, they'll keep ticking up.
Especially because there's a lot of anime culture coming in.
Yes,
that's what makes me think they're Asian because they are very like big eyes, big head, little body, which is common among Asian cartoonists. Wow, that's awesome. What's your favorite pop?
Man, I've got one that I don't keep stored away with everything. I keep it in my closet, and it's Captain America with the broken shield. And he's
is that a valuable one or no?
No, but it's from one of the movies, and it was a great scene.
And it's
so
special to you.
Yeah, so I like it.
Awesome. So tell me about 10-8 training.
Well,
how did this come about?
I always loved working out, but since I was 16.
Dylan's got all the abs.
Since I was 16, and I started working out at the gym. I mean, I was in the gym 5 to 6 days a week, basically the rest of my life, right? I've been a big gym guy. I love gym.
Do you enjoy lifting more than jiu-jitsu?
Oh, no. I don't, no. I used to. Lifting was like my big thing. I loved it. I always considered it like when I walked in the gym, I was clocking in for work. So don't talk to people. You're going to work.
I know we've lifted next to each other and probably said 2 words
right.
at times.
Right. I try to stay focused when I'm in there.
Yeah, same here. When I'm working, I'm working.
Right.
Don't distract me.
No, because I love jujitsu. I love everything new about it and learning something new, or even going over something that I've done before and realizing, oh, I wasn't doing it that way. And tweaking it. Now it's working better or whatever. You know what I mean? I just see jujitsu as something that it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. The more time you put into it, and if you pay attention and practice it, the better you're going to get. It's just one of those things.
There's no secret. The more you show up to class, the better you're going to get. Anything. Striking to wrestling, the more you show up, the better you're going to get.
Right.
And I also think it's great supplemental training. Like I said, if I was going to go compete professionally as a grappler, I would have to put on a little bit more muscle and start at least 3-day-a-week lifting regimen.
Right.
Like to compete at the highest level, especially how my skills, strength helps them a lot.
Right.
So, and then it's like also mobility is a huge part of jiu-jitsu too.
And that's changed in my workouts a lot. I try to do a lot more stabilizer workouts, core workouts. I'm trying to focus on it so that it helps my jiu-jitsu.
Your yoga, Pilates are almost more important sometimes.
Right.
Because and it's funny. It's like you could bring a different thing, just like MMA. You could be a quick guy. You could be a long guy. You could have the flexibility, be more of a flexible person and work that around your style. Or you could be a big meathead and work the smash style.
Yeah.
There's many different body types and you could adapt the style to them.
Yes.
Like big guys don't. Like the guy who wins super heavyweight beats everybody on an advantage.
Oh, really?
Because there's not as many like subs for big guys because they're not as mobile.
Right. That makes sense.
And then the lower weights you get, the more subs show up and the more mobility and speed is a factor.
And I do notice that since I've cut down so much weight that I am a lot more mobile. I can get around a lot quicker. I like it.
How's your back feeling?
My back's all right. It goes from time to time, but it's, I went in and saw a neurosurgeon years ago and he was like, yep, we should do surgery. Your back's still messed up.
Did you get the surgery?
No, because he warned me. He said, I have to give you the warnings. He said, something could go wrong and you could end up paralyzed. He said, it's a low chance, but I just have to warn you. And I was like, no, I'm not getting
You're probably better waiting because probably in 10 years they'll figure it out.
Right. And I had people at work that had back surgeries and told me it didn't help. It helped for a little bit. And then it went back to where it was.
Rip out or something.
Right. And it's like, nah, I'll just keep dealing with it. So I do a lot of things to help. I sleep with pillows under my leg. I don't put anything in my back pocket. I do a lot of stretching. So.
No, I got to make adjustments for myself, dude. Pillows, certain angles.
Right.
I mean, it's a big part of it. It's the recovery.
Oh, yeah.
So I got one more for you.
Yeah.
Why does the nickname Captain Cranberry ruffle your feathers?
I think because it's not, it doesn't ruffle my feathers, but
it's so innocent.
It's Janelle's thing, and that's why I always like, oh, it wasn't me, it was Janelle's fault. I had nothing to do with the cranberry sauce.
And it was all Montana, too.
Oh, was it really?
Well, he saw the list, and I couldn't let it go. All right, so it wasn't me, but I love it. There was a list for Anna was having a party. Those of you who don't know, Anna's a member, suffered from cancer. Everybody was going doing a Friendsgiving or something.
Right.
Anna wrote down, like, smoking a turkey, baking a cake, doing this. Steph wrote a bunch of things. And Janelle wrote cranberry sauce. And so Montana was like, all she got to do is go like this, take the knife around and go, and then slap it down. Mission accomplished. And then he started calling you Captain Cranberry.
That's where Captain Cranberry
That's how Captain Cranberry came about.
So, yeah. I in her defense, she did make fresh cranberry sauce.
She did make fresh cranberry.
And she said when she signed up, everything good was taken. So, I don't know.
She could have smoked a second turkey.
She could have smoked a second turkey, I guess.
She was like, all right, you're smoking one. Let me deep fry one.
That's true.
You know, people like pizzas. So, I'm going to make a pizza.
Thanksgiving pizza.
Yeah, who cares?
Put some turkey on it.
Or a cheesecake.
Yeah, cheesecake.
Who doesn't like a good old cheesecake?
Cheesecake. Jax actually told me on my way in here, he said, don't let Tom call you Captain Cranberry.
Oh, I had a whole list. I was going to say when you were teaching, you were Professor Cranberry.
Professor Cranberry.
When you won the belt, you were the Cran champion.
Oh, that was good.
That's a good one, right? Let me see. I had a few more. When you were teaching, you were Professor Cranberry. Did I say that? Let's see. Oh, when you were taking the goo baths, you were the Cran Chancellor.
The Cran Chancellor. That's
the
a good
Cran
one.
Chancellor.
I'm trying to get them to call me that.
Or what was it? Cranberry Palpatine.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's a good reference for the nerds out there.
I know. That's what Montana came up with. We made the list together. So it's been awesome having you on, Dylan. Any shout out to any sponsors or how about you plug your business again?
Okay, yeah, 10-8 personal training. I love it. I love training people. It's super enjoyable. I was just going to be retired and be done and enjoy life. And my mother-in-law actually recommended to me, hey, why don't you train people how to work
She's like,
out?
hey, you got to work, you bum.
But she's like, why don't you practice with me? And so I would run her through stuff. But this was before I was certified, just to see if I would like it. And I liked it. And she started progressing, losing weight. Her legs got stronger. Her core got better. And I went, man, I kind of want to do that, you know? And so
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I went through NASM and I got certified. And
Which is a hard thing to pass.
It is a hard one. And that's what I tried to look up. I looked up all the different schools.
It's very similar to kinesiology.
Yes.
I went through that textbook. It's tough.
It is rough.
It takes time.
Yes. I mean, I studied every day.
It's very technical.
Right. Passed the test. One of the things we were looking for when we looked for a house out here was a house with a separate building that I could turn into a gym. And so that's what we got. So we have our 2-car attached garage to the house, but then there's a 2-car detached. And so I turned that into the gym. It's got heating and AC, good lighting. I got the mats
Bowser's
down.
there.
Bowser's in there so people can come check him out. But I love it, man. I had a client hit me up a little bit ago. She texted me and she said, hey, I don't know if this will mean much to you, but just so you know, I bought this pair of pants a long time ago that I really liked, but they didn't have it in my size. So my goal was to fit in it. She said, today I decided to see how close I was and they slipped right on. She said, I don't know what it means to you, but it means the world to me. And that's the kind of stuff that that makes me happy, right?
And people don't realize, maybe it sounds like a couple of bucks now, but it adds years on your life.
Oh, 100%.
Time's the most valuable thing.
Absolutely.
I would trade money for time any day.
Live longer.
Or healthy.
Live healthier, right? Not hurt when you get up off the couch or whatever.
So how long are these sessions? An hour?
An hour.
So you're giving anybody who calls your number.
Yes.
An hour session for free.
1 hour free session. Yes.
And then you have packages if you get more.
Yeah, I tried to be fair. I looked up all the prices in the area, what the average was, and I took the lowest. And then on top of that, I added a discount for military, first responders, or their family members, militia MMA members, and then more discounts if you come in more, just to try to make it so it's very affordable and people can come in and improve themselves.
And it's your passion. You enjoy doing this.
I love it. I really enjoy it. I love it coming up with a different plan depending on who I'm training. If I'm training, a 40-something-year-old woman that wants to get back in shape compared to if I'm training a 16-year-old
kid. And you go, after they're done, you go and you log it in and figure it out.
I keep track of what they did and, everything, and I keep it in each has their individual binder that I go through anytime I plan a session to look at.
Oh, good. You give everybody a binder.
No, I keep it.
Okay.
Well, but yeah, they each have their individual binder.
Like everybody's got a personal binder.
Right. So I can go through and see what their goals are, what their thing is. We do tests every few months to see how they're progressing and make sure they're progressing.
Yeah, that's very important. It's very, very important to log your workout.
Yes.
I honestly think you probably have the best deal in North Georgia.
It might be.
And you give militia MMA members a discount.
Yes.
Guys, listen, go in there. Get a workout in. Trust me, it won't hurt. It really won't.
The free session at least. And then
get the free session because do you enjoy teaching members more?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because it's somebody I kind of know or at least have something in common with.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
And you get to go see them lift and hey, look, he owned this guy and I was a part of that.
Right. Unless Chris Gordy came in because I don't think I have enough weights for that guy.
I know, right?
He puts up a lot of weight.
He might have to coach you.
He's out for a month and then goes in and can put up, 3 or 4 plates on the bench.
I know. He's like a chest muscle with arms. He's like, I'm going to show you a workout. Let's lift the truck. Dylan, thank you for coming on. It was awesome to have you on. Guys, this is it. I'll see you guys next week.